All right, we're going to take a look at factoring by grouping today. And so what we're going to do is take a look at p cubed plus 6p squared minus 5p minus 30. They're in descending order of powers. So what we're going to do is we take the p cubed and p squared and we put them together as one group. And we put them in parentheses. Then we put a plus sign. No matter what sign is here, we're always going to put a plus. Then we put the second grouping, including the sign, of negative 5p minus 30 together. All right, from here, what we're going to do is we're going to factor out of each of these quantities what the GCF is. So p cubed and p squared, we can factor out a p. The highest power in this grouping is 3, so the lowest is 2, so we're going to take p squared out. So that's going to leave us with p plus 6. So that's this grouping right here. Next, we're going to do the next grouping, and we're going to factor out of here a negative 5, because remember, if your first term is negative, you're going to take the negative out. And that's going to leave us with p, and negative 5 divided into negative 30 is positive 6, so plus 6. So here are your two factorizations of those two quantities that we grouped together from the original. All right, now what you can see is in each of these two factored quantities, we have the same quantity of p plus 6. So we're going to factor that out. And what we're left with is p squared plus a negative 5. So we'll write it as p squared minus 5. And that's it. And that is factoring by grouping. All right, next, we're going to take a look at 6v cubed minus 6v squared plus 21v minus 56. Again, what we're going to do is we're going to take 6v cubed minus 16v squared and group those together. We're going to add, and we're going to take the next grouping. It's a positive 21v, so we write 21v minus 56. All right. From this first grouping, we're going to take out the greatest common factor of 6 and 16, which is going to give us 2. V cubed and v squared will give us v squared, leaving us with 3v minus 8. Plus, we're going to factor out this grouping. 21 and 56, we can take out a... I think we could take out a 7, leaving us with 3v minus 8. What you notice is that if you factor your GCF out and it's not large enough, you're not going to get the same quantity as you did in the first grouping, or vice versa. All right, so something to consider when you're doing these. So as we can see, these two groupings are the same, so we're going to factor those out. So 3v minus 8 comes out, and we're left with 2v squared plus 7. And that is our factorization by grouping. All right, next we have 21k cubed minus 84k squared plus 15k minus 60. So as always, you should look for GCFs. We didn't have any in the first two problems we did. 21, 84, 15, and 16. I tried 15, but it doesn't divide into 21 or 84. So I'm going to go lower, and I can divide by 3. So I'm going to take out a GCF of 3. Now, here I'm going to open up square brackets, because by taking out the GCF, I haven't started grouping yet. I'm just removing the largest, greatest common factor that we can take out of it. I'm using square brackets because now I'm going to start grouping. All right, so we keep our GCF. I'm going to open up my square brackets, and inside I'm going to group 7k cubed minus 28k plus, and I'm going to group together 5k minus 20 and close off my square bracket. All right, keeping my 3 greatest common factor, I'm going to now factor 7k cubed minus 28k. Oh, and that should be a k squared. That was my mistake, so I noticed that right away. Get it in there. All right, so we're going to take out 7k squared, and that'll give me k minus 4, plus, from here I can factor out a 5, leaving me with k minus 4. And now I can drop the square brackets, so I have 3, which is my greatest common factor, comes down. In these quantities, I have the same quantity of k minus 4 that I can factor out, leaving me with 7k squared plus 5. So it's 3 times the quantity k minus 4 times the quantity 7k squared plus 5. And that's our factorization. And one more problem. 105, 175, 75, and 125. Okay, so looking for the greatest common factor. 5 would definitely work. 25 would have worked, but 105 it won't. So I'm going to take out 5, open up square brackets. 5 divides into 105, 21n cubed, plus 35n squared, minus 15n, minus 25. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to group inside. So we're going to take 5 and keep our GCF, open up our square brackets, and group 21n cubed plus 35n squared plus, and we're going to group the sign with this negative 15n minus 25 and close off your brackets. All right, now we're ready to factor. Okay, keep our GCF of 5. 21n cubed plus 35n squared, we're going to take out a 7n squared, and we'll be left with 3n plus 5 plus negative 15n minus 25. We're going to take out a negative 5, and we'll be left with 3n plus 5. So watch your signs here, because negative 5 divided into negative 15 is positive 3n, and negative 5 divided into negative 25 is positive 5. Okay, so now we start factoring and putting them together, and we wind up with our GCF of 5. We can drop the square brackets and take out the 3n plus 5 from each of these quantities. All right, so that quantity gets written here because it's in both. And what's left is 7n squared plus a negative 5, so minus 5. And that's our factorization. It's 5 times the quantity of 3n plus 5 times the quantity of 7n squared minus 5.